Hello and welcome to another episode of the Full Force Weekly, brought to you by GeneralsJoes.com with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Snake Eyes 80, not really, Diagnostic 80. For today's episode, I'm joined by the awesome Justin Generals Joes Bell. In this regular video series, we round up all the week's news in the world of G.I. Joe. Full Force Weekly! That was alright, wasn't it?
That was great.
This is snug, I'm not going to lie. Right, I'll switch out now. That's how snug it is.
You know, I got to give you kudos for that Snake Eye scene. I don't know what was more bizarre, like hearing the voice come out of that mask, or just how much lube you had to put up in there in order to get that mask on. I didn't know if I needed to see that, but you know, whatever works for you.
A lot of people said, "How'd you get your hair in there?" It's that the hair's not the problem; it's the massive head that is the problem. Like it's a really cool helmet. Once it's on, it's brilliant. It's like a nice snug fit, and it's not uncomfortable necessarily. But getting it on is a mission, because it's interesting. Like I was going to talk about this in the shoutouts, but it splits like that, and there's like a elastic inside, but it doesn't go very far. So you're really like, I've got to get my head inside that tiny hole.
I'd be worried about these things. I don't know if I could. It folds back, but it doesn't fold out. So my wings might. I don't know if that works for me. But.
It does feel like they're going to be chopped off when you're putting your head in there, though. At first, like you feel like, oh, am I going to cut my ears off? No, I'm not. But it's wicked. It looks amazing.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Kudos to GameStop for this one, and Hasbro and whoever designed it. It's brilliant. The Cobra Commander one's cool. It's like the Cobra Commander one is like you don't feel like you're wearing a mask. It's really comfortable. It's lightweight and you can see clearly in all directions. This, on the other hand, is like it's a bit tighter. It looks bad, but you can only see out of those. If you can see the slats, you can only see out of those. Yeah. You basically pick a slat with your eyes, and you lock your nose into one of the positions, and there's like a netting behind it, so you can but you can see out of it clearly, just only that tiny strip of it. You have to like Mandalorian your way around the place to really look around. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into classified news, shall we?
All right, let's do it.
The images have been flooding in with people successfully finding Vipers and a few Fireflies here and there after they dropped in Target stores on New Year's Day. I'm still out of luck for Firefly in that regard, but I am determined to be patient despite my jealous rage building to dramatic levels. Thanks to Ryan Meltzer and Molly and Clem4135 on Twitter for hooking me up with a Viper each. You legends. I'm very excited to see Firefly in hand at some point, but as it currently stands, I might be waiting a little bit longer. Justin, you've got yours as well, buddy, haven't you? How does that figure stack up so far for you, that Viper?
Oh, I like it. I've got them sitting right here on my desk. I will shamelessly admit that I don't have your level of patience, and I haven't yet received a hookup. So I unfortunately I did feed the scalpers a little bit on that one. I am admitting that in front of all of our G.I. Joe fans. I paid way too much money for that Viper, but I figure I'll do it for that one.
We've just lost loads of likes and subscribes and all.
Everybody's flipped me off and just no, my bad. But I'll do that for that one, and then I'll try to be more patient for the other 5 or 6 that I'm looking for. But I couldn't just sit there and look at those pictures and not own it in my hand. I'm a little sick that way. So I do have my Viper, and I love it. It's a fantastic figure, and I'm really excited. And I feel pretty sure that for those of you who are not having much luck with Target, I think Hasbro will probably do something similar that they're doing with the Cobra Infantry figure. So patience will be a virtue. Just hopefully you have more than I do, because I'm diseased.
You're terrible, but then again, I'm very lucky because I've got lots of people like helping and hooking me up. So,
people that actually like you, I understand what you're saying.
Well, Well, they like my money. No, I'm kidding. Big shout out to Ryan and Molly, who this is this one that came in this morning. So thanks to Ryan and Molly for sending me that one. Love you guys to death.
Awesome.
And also Clem4135 on Twitter, who actually I will give a shout out later on as well. But he's also sent me one through the post. So thank you very much for that, guys. Now, yeah, I mean, Firefly, we haven't actually. I haven't seen. I mean, I've seen a few people finding Firefly. It seems weirdly, I'm not sure if it's just because more people are posting about them, but it feels like more people are finding these figures than the last wave of figures. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more successful images than frustrated. I mean, there's a share of frustrated images, of course, or frustrated comments, but it seems like I'm seeing more successful finds than we were for the Cobra Trooper. I don't. That just might be, perception, but it does seem that way.
Yeah. I definitely felt like the first time round with the Trooper, with Beachhead, and especially with Baroness, I feel like they were in and out before anyone even really knew about them. And yeah, I totally understand that. But this time I feel like the numbers have definitely been increased, but it's hard to say other than, maybe people are just posting more or I'm seeing more of it than I was before. In any case, we can't be 100% sure on that until, I don't know, until someone gets fired from Hasbro and tells us all about it. In any case, that is obviously the actual figures that have been kind of coming out in the stores. And in more classified news, a YouTube review video from the Mr. Stan Show has given us our first look at the new updated back-of-the-box art for Zartan and the Cobra Infantry figures. The video clearly showed the additions of Zartan, Beachhead, Firefly, a Cobra Viper and a Cobra Trooper to the previously used poster artwork we received for all the other classified releases to this point. The additions look great, and the expectation now is that we might see some mainline releases for characters like Beachhead, Firefly and the Vipers, as well as artwork editions of Flint and Lady J when those figures are officially released later in the year. It's so ridiculous that I get excited when this stuff pops up, but Justin, how cool is it to see a change like this on the packaging?
I'm excited too. I think it's great. And you make a good point with the fact that Viper and Beachhead are on that package, and that package is the mass retail package that kind of lends you to believe that Beachhead may end up getting an eventual mass retail release as well. I think it's awesome. I think the only thing I'm worried about is eventually they're going to run out of room and they're going to have to do something to kind of fit other characters on there. But yeah, I think it's a really cool touch.
They'll just start making the box bigger. By the end of the line, it'll be like 6'3".
It'll be like
it's a 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah.
With the tiny figure in the middle on the other side.
Yeah. Is the Alley Viper still on there? I meant to ask that. He is still on there?
Yes.
I didn't know if they take him off.
No, all the previous characters, and the Baroness is still on there in her kind of like deco, in that kind of deco. So again, there's kind of, I suppose it does point towards the possibility that we'll see Baroness in that single carded form.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah, I think Alley Vipers probably could be one of the new code words that popped up in Big Rig or Diamondback.
True.
I mean, Diamondback, that does sound like something that the Alley Viper could be, especially with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really stretch this one here, but the diamond shaped shield that they have, that's not even a thing. But it could be that. It could be that kind of situation. Personally, for me, I look at it and I look at some of the details on that card, and I see that Beachhead's mask has got almost like a silver paint app on that little section of that flat piece over the mouth. So maybe we could be seeing slight redecos on Beachhead for that mainline release. People have mentioned he's not wearing his beret. But he doesn't necessarily evoke the beret wearing from that. If you were to draw him even in his artwork, you wouldn't necessarily throw the beret on there, would you? 100%.
Exactly. No.
So no. I mean, but again, that said, he may not come with the beret, the other mainline version. What were the other things I noticed? Or a lot of people have noticed certain elements with the Viper having, I think it's red knee and shin pads as opposed to black.
Oh, okay.
So, again, that does hint towards a possible redeco in the mainline.
Yeah.
So these things are all possible. Do you think Do you think Flint and Jay are going to be added straight away, or do you think they'll wait for a couple more releases before they change the packaging again?
I wouldn't be surprised if they're put on there straight away. I mean, Zartan and Cobra Infantry are just barely hitting the Far East right now, and should be hitting stateside probably in the next month or so. And they're already on there, so it wouldn't surprise me if Flint and Lady J got included sooner rather than later.
They are running out of space, though. You're totally right.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a Where's Waldo situation pretty soon. Like, there's Major Blood. He's right there. All right.
I'm gonna be looking out for Lightfoot every single release, looking for him. Where is he? Where are they going to add him in? Anyway, so I mean that's the new packaging art. It is really exciting, and we are nerds, so live with it. Right, in in retro news, listings for the fourth wave of G.I. Joe retro product have appeared, courtesy of German toy retailer ID und Spiel. I don't know why I have to say it like that. They were posted with the Hasbro code words Atlas, Leo, and Meteor. As I explained on the recent news burst, we know that Atlas is an internal Hasbro code word for the Cobra Trooper, thanks to a previous classified release. And we also have an inkling towards Meteor, whose original code word was Carpenter Bug, with Cobra Commander being Carpenter Ant, Carpenter Bee having been Cobra Trooper in the past, and Ladybug being a Kiko from the upcoming Snake Eyes movie line. We have been assuming that Carpenter Bug, aka Meteor, stay with me on this one, is a female Cobra Trooper. No idea who Leo could be as yet, but we will keep you informed of any changes there. Justin, what do you think of these for Retro Wave 4?
I think it's cool. I think the Cobra Trooper especially could be something that really draws some people in, especially if they, if it's kind of following the formula and using some previous builds. I could see them doing, the Pursuit of Cobra / 50th anniversary, sort of carry that forward into the retro line, and I think it would do very well. I think there's lots of people that, fairly new collectors perhaps that were not around during the Cobra, Pursuit of Cobra era, who missed the opportunity to get, piles of those single pack Cobra Troopers. So I think that could be a very big boon for Hasbro to kind of start including that stuff in the line.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on the theory of the Carpenter Bug being a female Cobra Trooper? What do you think about that one?
That could work. I mean, yeah, they did do, they have that shooter tooling they used in the 50th anniversary, and that I think they used that torso on Scarlet maybe, and that figure was also a female Cobra Trooper from, the G.I. Joe Collectors Club. So they certainly have the parts available to do so. It would be interesting. I don't know if I necessarily see a male Cobra Trooper and a female Cobra Trooper in the same assortment, but who knows? I might be wrong, but that would be a very interesting kind of twist, and I can see where your logic is there.
Yeah, and also I think, obviously we've been doing Intel episodes, and a lot of this information we've actually kind of already divulged. Yeah. There's a slight discrepancy in what I'm thinking is been posted here. I kind of have the feeling that we're seeing a couple of waves mushed together and a couple of names not being mentioned at the moment as well. So keep that in mind, that there's a possibility this will change as we go forward. That's all I can really say on that one at this particular moment in time. Unless you're a patron, obviously, in which case, jump on board. Shameless plugs. Anyway, that's retro. I mean, how are you finding the retro overall at the moment, Justin? Are you getting into it? Are you buying it? I mean, what's your kind of thoughts overall with the line at this point?
I will admit I haven't really bought any of it yet. I'm so infatuated with Classified. That's really where my collecting focus is at the moment. I think retro started out middle of the road, then I think it got a little bit better. But then, the whole thing with Duke, I really didn't quite understand why they went in that direction. It hasn't really jumped out and grabbed me. I mean, a lot of the vehicles that are available, the Hiss and the Ostriker, I've owned those, 24 times over since, 84 and 85. So I don't feel a burning desire to purchase those. The Fang and the Pilot look very interesting, but I haven't jumped into that yard yet either. So, I do think they are making some improvements to the retro line. The Scarlet and the Roadblock especially are some nice changes compared to Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, and I think their heads are in the right place, and I think they will start and keep getting better. But I haven't really been drawn to purchasing any of them yet.
Yes, no, I totally agree with you on that one, Justin. I kind of feel a very similar way about the retro line. It started like okay. the Roadblock and the Scarlet editions I thought were really cool. Like, and it's like, oh, cool, we're going to get new stuff, we're going to get new, parts and stuff like that. And then when they revealed Duke, I was like, seriously? Yeah. That is the weirdest decision ever, considering there are so many better Dukes options out there. They could even kit bash something that was better than that one. But anyway, by the by, I still think there are going to be some really interesting things coming from Retro. And I have still this weird hunch that we may even get something G.I. Joe HasLab related with the Retro line. I mean, we discussed that a little bit in the New Year's Eve episode, the New Year's Day special. And I can still see something like that happening. But anyway, that's by the by. Let's move into the next section, which is Funko news. The SERLENT Pop's Twitter account has been a constant source of early news regarding the G.I. Joe Funko Pop vinyls and Mystery Minis figures, and once again, they have come through with some info on the next round of releases for 2021. 4 Pop vinyls were named: Scarlet, the Baroness, Snake Eyes version 1, and Storm Shadow version 2. My initial thoughts drifted to the upcoming Snake Eyes movie, but the list does state whether these products are movie or not, so that was pretty kind of crushed immediately. And also the use of both version 1 and version 2 in regards to Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow does heavily hint towards the Real American Hero designs. Justin, what do you think about these next 4 characters for the Funko line? I mean, is this something that you even... I mean, do you care about this at all with Funko, or are you just happy to see the kind of merchandise being kind of spread out there? I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I care just because it's getting the brand out there. I don't buy the Funko Pop stuff myself, but I know it's pretty huge in collector circles right now, and I think anything that gets the G.I. Joe brand and the G.I. Joe characters out in collectors' hands is a good thing. I think the character choices make sense. I mean, we're not quite at Snake Eyes movie time yet, but we're getting closer, hopefully. So I think it makes sense to kind of release some of those classic, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow characters in their Real American Hero appearances, just to kind of as a ramp up to the movie. So I'm all for, I'm a huge fan of Funko Pop's doing, these characters. I probably won't buy them myself, but I'm really excited to kind of see what sort of stir they create in the collector community, because I know there's a bunch of people out there that really love these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't have a ton of info at this moment in time. This is just listings that SERLENT Pops have kind of posted up. Now, they have, like I said, they have been prolific in information for Funko Pop now. Like, they churn the news out. So I tend to kind of keep an eye on them because they usually break that information very quickly and first. So I have every, confidence that this is probably going to happen. Scarlet Baroness, Snake Eyes version 1, all standard issue. We have had, obviously, Snake Eyes version 2 and Storm Shadow version 1 previously by Funko, so it makes sense that they would delve into those other versions of the characters. Really looking forward to that Storm Shadow version 2 because I love him. That digital camo gets me every time. Doesn't matter what it's on. Could be on a poop. They could divide a white poop with grey camo on it, and I'd probably buy it. Anyway, that's for the Hasbro marketing team to get their head round. How do you do Poop Joes? Which will happen.
They've got at least one guaranteed sale anyway.
Yeah, well, of course, me. Anyway, that's Funko Pops. I will probably be getting those, but only because I'm a shill. Anyway. In Hasbro news, the toy and entertainment company are looking for an associate package engineer in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. The job sounds pretty cool and focuses on their Beyblade and G.I. Joe action brands. The job entails helping to create packaging for the brands with an eye on cost, retail space, sustainability and design, of course. I will post a link to the job listing in the descriptions below. Have you dusted your resume off yet, Justin, for this one?
For this one, probably not. Yeah, I don't think that really falls in my wheelhouse, but it was a dream of mine for a long time, and probably in some ways still is, to work for Hasbro, but understanding sort of where my expertise is, and I'm not a graphic designer, so I will not be pending in my resume for this particular one.
That depresses me. You've fallen at the first hurdle, Justin. No, that's awesome. I mean, like it's an interest. I mean, to me, when I read about the job, I was like, man, that sounds awesome. Could you imagine? I mean, for a designer, that would be a really cool way to, especially if you're a Joe fan,
Sure.
You know, like just to kind of get in to the company in that way, to work on the packaging, which, like, again, let's look at the classified packaging for one. I absolutely adore this, and I think this is like just so, you know, there's a lot goes into this. It's not just let's just make a box and stick a figure in it. There's so much, like, the design aspect is off the charts. The actual, like, you know, just the way they've cut out the star, which is a really cool way of, you know, being like the window for it. But then to have that little side panel was also plastic as well, which has got the little, you know, there's a lot to it than just, and obviously there's, you know, you got to think about how much space have we got on the shelf. You know, can we minimize certain plastics? Can we minimize, you know, make it more sustainable? That's something that Hasbro have been kind of working towards a lot recently, and you can kind of tell that with a lot of the packaging they do. But still, awesome job. And if anyone's interested, we've posted the link in the description. Go nuts and good luck on that one.
And remember us when you're inside the top secret Hasbro vault, and we're looking for some inside sources. You know where we are.
We always need more intel. So bring it on. Anyway, speaking of inside sources and intel, cracking segue, Justin Bell.
That's what I'm here for.
I know. In Valentine's news, a new set of G.I. Joe classified Valentines with tattoos has been spotted at retail, thanks to an insider of our very own, Ezra Oroshovsky, who congratulated me for pronouncing his name correctly on the burst for this one. But anyway, thanks for the heads up for this one, Ezra. This particular set was found at a Fred Meyer in Oregon and contains 32 Valentine's cards with 8 heroic designs and 32 tattoos. The cards have space for writing on one side and a slot for some tattoos, which is just awesome. Justin, Classified is going hard as a Valentine's Day.
Crazy. Awesome.
Will you be sending any of these to that special someone?
I'll buy. Oh, yeah, of course. I'll buy some and I'll send them to you. I'm going to put some of the tattoos on my forehead, I think, maybe for our next news burst. I don't know. Are they characters or what?
Mate, we have to do that for the Valentine's Day special. Yes, man. We are doing a Valentine's Day special, by the way. But yeah, you've basically screwed yourself there, because you're going to have to put tattoos on your forehead. Yeah, you get, like, there's a little on the back of the package. You can see what the tattoos are, and they're all, like, you know, little character, you know, like some of the characters in kind of action poses. There's the G.I. Joe Star and Stripes logo. There's probably a Cobra logo in there as well. But, you know, I got
a lot of real estate here. I might as well fill it up with something, you know? I mean,
Justin's going to have all 32 tattoos on his forehead.
Little fight scene, like Storm Shadow jump kicking Snake Eyes. And yeah, that'd be beautiful.
Okay, this has to happen now for the Valentine's Day special. Now, there is actually going to be a Valentine's Day special, but Justin has just ruined his life on that side of things.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm in trouble.
I must admit, I love it when people are like, oh, have you seen this? And they send us new stuff. And it's like, what? We did have no idea that even existed. So it's great to have people sending this stuff in. But how cool is it to see this stuff, mate?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, just the fact that it's getting out there, I mean, I love it, you know, and it's geared towards kids. And, you know, I mean, it's fantastic. It's been a long time since we've seen kind of the full court press of G.I. Joe merchandise outside of action figures, and just, you know, between the Funko Pops and, you know, the Titans figures and the Valentines and the sticker sheets. It's fantastic. I love it. It's all good news.
Yeah, the more the merrier, I say as well. Keep it coming. Keep giving us ridiculous things to buy. Everybody involved with Hasbro, all the licensees, etc. And anyway, let's move on to something slightly different and kind of not necessarily related to G.I. Joe. In Micro Machines news, we have a new Series 1 playset/vehicle set to seek out. Full Force's very own Adam Riches found this awesome cargo transporter playset in a Target earlier in the week, and it is truly fantastic. This line is slowly becoming my favourite alongside G.I. Joe Classified at the Mo, and these almost unknown product drops are sort of making it even more interesting. It's so hard to find any info outside of the package inserts and the official Twitter account, @MicroMachinesX. And having that mystery about what is out there and available and what is available adds a very cool vintage layer to the mix, much like when we were kids without the internet as a resource. Justin, I know you're not necessarily into the Micro Machines stuff, but isn't it kind of weird that we don't have some sort of like resource to see what is actually available?
It's amazing. I mean, Micro Machines was huge back in the day. I would have thought there was some kind of online, news source or fandom or something like that be digging this stuff up. But I really love the idea that Adam is going into a store and just seeing things that he had no idea even existed. That seems like such a foreign concept these days. And I know as a kid, that was one of the greatest joys of, these trips I would take to department stores and toy stores, just walking in the door and saying, what's on these pegs that I don't even know exists. And I remember, one of my greatest memories, and part of the reasons why I love, the Cops and Crooks line so much, is that I rode my bike to the local department store here, where I live and still live, and walked in the doors just, another day, figuring, what's going to happen today, and walked down the toy aisle and saw these Cops and Crooks figures that I didn't even know were a thing. They had G.I. Joe articulation, colorful packaging, really unique looking characters. And I just immediately fell in love. And some of what I think kind of fosters that sense of nostalgia and emotion when thinking about these brands is this whole process of walking down the aisle and seeing these things for the first time, not obsessing over, internet pictures for 6 months and then getting them and being like, oh yeah, this is what it feels like. I've been looking at this for a year and now I know what it feels like, big deal. So there's something to that is just so fantastic and that really drives that nostalgia home. And it's something that's kind of missing for a lot of people these days. I mean, even my 11-year-old daughter watches YouTube videos on upcoming toys that she knows about, for months in advance. So she doesn't even necessarily get that unique surprise of seeing something in a store for the first time. So I really like that.
And we're terrible for that
on purpose or not, but we're part of the problem, yeah.
We are the problem, especially in the G.I. Joe community.
We're not part of it. We are the entire problem. Yeah.
We're like, okay, guys, here's a character that's coming out in 7 years' time that we've managed to delve some information up from. Anyway, no, I love that aspect, and I think that's something that I really liked about the Micro Machines line is that I go into a store. Well, I did before, not recently, but when I'd go in, and it would be like, oh, this playset, and then you'd find them all, you'd get everything together, and then you'd open it up, and you'd see the insert, and that's where you'd have all the information, and it's kind of like, okay, now I know what I need and what I have and what to expect. But like that is almost there's a fun about that, and there's almost like a fun about looking for it on the internet and going, I can't find anything about this. It's like eBay seems to be the only place to actually see what is available in Series 2,
right?
And that is kind of crazy. And this vehicle we're talking about now, this cargo transport plane, which is incredible and very much like G.I. Joe potential in terms of repaints. But this could be transporting your Jada Toys figures as well, like your Jada Toys vehicles. So there's that aspect to it for me. But like the fact that this is a Series 1 vehicle, like this is something that we now have Series 2 in stores. Series 1 I thought was done and dusted, and it turns out that I guess COVID has a lot to do with this. Maybe like times that it takes to actually get some of the product, and the cargo plane is a bit bigger than what they've been making so far, so maybe that's taken a bit more time to get finished. So it's kind of come out in the middle of the Series 2 run, and it's kind of like, oh my god, there's more stuff to get. And that again I think drives a lot of that interest. It drives a lot of that kind of it drives sales for me personally, because I'm like buy it.
Going back to sort of the old days, I mean, sometimes when I found new G.I. Joe stuff on shelf, I would occasionally buy a cheap little vehicle that I might not have ordinarily bought just because it came with that catalog inside, and that was my one way to figure out what else is coming. So I would buy like the Pogo or whatever that might not even be something that I really like all that much, but I'm buying it just so I can get that insert and check out that catalog and figure out exactly what else is coming in the line. That was a huge part of it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've got now with this, so I'm quite happy with that in a weird way. In any case, let's hit our last news story of the week, and that is in Toy Fair news. So after the February Toy Fair in New York was cancelled not too long ago, the Toy Association moved the date to May in an attempt to delay due to the pandemic. Unfortunately, they've had to cancel the May event as well for the simple reason that COVID just hasn't let up. They will instead focus on the Dallas show in October of this year, the February 2022 New York return, and their digital year-round platform, Toy Fair Everywhere. Justin, are you sad we won't be getting Toy Fair in New York this year? And do you foresee Hasbro doing an online preview event in the absence of the show?
I think it's quite possible. Yeah, I mean, I am disappointed. You know, it was always a big deal for me, you know, back when I actually attended the show. That was kind of a real highlight of the first part of the year to go down to New York and to visit Toy Fair. And it's still an exciting event, even virtual, even online only. So the fact that they're just canceling it is a little bit disappointing, but I would imagine they're going to do some sort of online thing to celebrate it, because I mean, they need to announce this stuff. They're not just going to go radio silent. And, you know, Hasbro might be replacing it a little bit with these FanFest Friday sort of things. But I really think Toy Fairs draws a lot of national attention from outside mainstream sources. So I think it's really important to still hold some kind of Toy Fair event, similar to like San Diego Comic-Con. Even though this isn't really what Toy Fair was initially designed to be, it is certainly what it's kind of transformed into. So I think they need to maintain that, just because they're going to get the IGN.com, and they're going to get the USA Today, and they're going to get, you know, all these other publications that wouldn't necessarily cover it. Exactly, yeah, full force. So they'll get all these attention from publications that they might not otherwise be getting. So I think it's very important for them to still have some sort of event to celebrate that.
Absolutely. And I totally understand. And I'm like, you know, I'm kind of happy that it is being cancelled and they're not risking that at all, even in May or, you know, they've still got the October thing open in Dallas, but I guess that could change, you know, given time as well. But again, I'm kind of happy that it isn't going to happen in a weird way. But at the same time, a little bit depressed that, because again, I got to go to that preview event last year, thanks to yourself, obviously. And, and like, it was great. It was brilliant. I met loads of cool people. John Golombuski was there, or Busk as I call him. And we had a great little time just, you know, sitting in that auditorium and watching the presentations, and then going on the floor and seeing all that cool product. And it was right at the beginning of Classified. It was like that kind of perfect time to see that stuff up close and just be like, so yeah, that was awesome. I'm going to miss that, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what Hasbro, what Mattel, what Super 7, what NECA, what those guys are going to do. And obviously there's way more. Jada, and there's tons. You know, looking forward to see what they do on an individual basis in terms of getting their product, you know, out there and shown off, and, you know, in lieu of that Toy Fair this year. But yeah, Justin, dude, that's the news for today. But we do kind of have more to talk about in Shoutouts, which kind of is ridiculous. So let's get into, well, before, hang on, where are we in this? Yeah, we'll go into Shoutouts next, won't it? I'm still in like top threes mode. Let's get into Shoutouts. It's been a crazy week, and it got crazier, but let's start off first, as I always do, with a big shout out to my wonderful wife Kate and all my connected family. Love you guys to absolute death. Big shout out to Ben Conway as well, who I forgot to thank on the last episode when discussing great people who have helped us out with Target exclusives in the past. He managed to hook me up with a Baroness and Coil, and I egregiously left him out when listing all of the great Joe fans and friends who stepped up to help. So thank you, Ben. I hope this makes up for it. And I must say, he didn't even say anything. He didn't say anything about this. I just realised after the fact, and I felt terrible. So Ben, thank you for that Baroness and Coil. It was amazing.
He hooked me up too. So double bad on both of our parts. Yeah.
Thank you, Ben. And also shout to Mark as well, a friend of Ben's and friend of mine and friend of ours, who was also involved in trying to get those Baroness figures. So thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Mark O'Byrne. Massive shout out to Ryan Meltzer and Molly Williamson for hooking me up with the Target exclusive Cobra Viper. I love you both with all my heart. Also thanks to Clem41335 on Twitter, who I mentioned before, for finding me another Viper as well. I really appreciate it, you absolute legends. Go check out his son's YouTube review channel, Colton's Toy Time, as well, while you're at it. I said I'd give it a shout out. That shout out has been given. And yeah, check him out. Up and coming, budding YouTube reviewer. You go for it, buddy. Shout out to Daryl DePriest. Now, this is kind of going to be a corrections corner in a sense. ex-Hasbro legend, who messaged me with a correction. Now, I have been discussing my love of Micro Machines on previous shows, and I incorrectly stated that Hasbro purchased Wicked Cool Toys. That wasn't the case, and I even friggin' reported on it over a year ago. It was, in fact, Jazzwares who purchased Wicked Cool Toys shortly after Hasbro had made Wicked Cool Toys the global brand licensee for Micro Machines. That's where the confusion kind of got mixed up there. So for all those times I've mentioned Hasbro owning Wicked Cool Toys, that isn't the case. It's Jazzwares that own it, and Hasbro have, they've licensed it out to those companies. So apologise for that misinformation on the previous couple of episodes. I think I've mentioned it on now. I feel very silly considering I had myself reported about that Jazzwares takeover, and yet somewhere down the line completely jumbled reality with my own full force infused flavour of the truth, which I'm going to get on a t-shirt, by the way. Now, the biggest shout out I have to give, oh my god, Justin,
biggest shout out in full force history.
Oh my god, why do you think I'm wearing Snake Eyes hat, Snake Eyes t-shirt? The Snake Eyes helmet has been worn on the intro. There's a reason. There is a huge reason for that, and that is massive shout out to fan of the show. I made that part up.
It's true.
Henry freaking Golding, for tweeting me multiple times regarding my GameStop Snake Eyes helmet. Henry very hilariously replied, even though I didn't tag him, "You should see mine," when I posted that I got my Snake Eyes helmet on order. I cannot wait to see yours, Henry, and your Snake Eyes mask. Well, hey. He also tweeted me saying, when I actually posted an image of me wearing it, he said, "If it ain't hurting, it don't fit right," which was brilliant, and also looks super dope. So, wow, thank you. But my personal favourite response, and it has escalated since then quite dramatically, when Diana Davis asked him to appear on the show. I didn't ask her to do this. She just mentioned it on Twitter. He responded, "When time comes to promoting, the full force is first on the list." Yes, you heard it here first. It is very likely we are going to be getting an interview with Snake Eyes himself, which would be unbelievably remarkable. And yes, I did faint and cry a number of times when he posted that. And since then, more moves have been made in a private message scenario, which I'm not going to go into details with, but just know that the Snake Eyes interview is more than likely going to happen, and I can't believe this.
Absolutely amazing.
Justin, your thoughts, please, on the Snake Eyes thing.
Well, first of all, I'm so proud and happy for you. I mean, it's just,
I love you.
This is well deserved. You spend all this time and all this effort putting this news together. Really, the only source that I've seen that's really been actively talking about the Snake Eyes movie a lot in the lead up to it. You obviously have such a love for the brand, such a love for the upcoming film, and you deserve every bit of this potential success. I think it's just really, really awesome. And the fact that Henry Golding is replying to you and that has evidently noticed this is testament to kind of your enthusiasm for the brand. So I think it's really, really great. It's well deserved, and just send the invite my way, because I've been doing all the movie news. So I'm assuming this will be a 3-way, and I'll be ready. It's going to
be the only time in history that the Full Force presenters ask me to be on the show. It's going to be like,
exactly, yeah. Usually it's like, we need a hell alone, Chris. Come on, but yeah.
Kate wants to be involved as well for obvious reasons. I hear Paddy's other half, Miriam, wants to be involved in the background. It's going to be like,
you're everybody's friend now, Chris.
Yeah, you're being interviewed by everyone, Henry. I'm afraid. No, but serious note, mind blown. Cannot shout out this guy enough. Henry Golding seems to be one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. He has been so open and really awesome in chatting to me, like in like the last couple of days. Really nice guy, and I think this is going to be a pretty cool event. I cannot wait for this movie. I cannot wait for this interview. Not only am I really excited, I'm also extremely terrified, because we've had some great interviews on this show, but to get Snake Eyes is kind of a big deal. And I'm kind of hoping it also opens up the door maybe for Andrew Koji to jump on, maybe for Samara Weaving, Ursula Cabero, Iko Weiss. If any of you guys want to jump on, feel free. I'll tag you in all sorts of posts to see what you say.
That would be amazing.
It would be amazing. In any case, Justin, any shout-outs for yourself, my man?
Yeah, I did want to give a little shout out to our friends Todd and Amber at KOKOMO Toys, who recently have been featured on the Toy Store Near You streaming Amazon show. Oh, I checked it out, and it's really fantastic. They do a little shout out to Boss Fight Studio during the show as well, and I'm really happy for them getting some good attention, good national attention, which is really well deserved. So, yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to those folks for doing that. They've sponsored a few contests for us here at Full Force, and they've been friends of ours in the show for years and years. So big congrats to them, and their success is also well deserved.
And we'll add all those links in the description as well, because they utilised our pages for sponsored ads, didn't they, Justin?
Yeah, there you go.
No, but like again, love them guys to death. They did a cracking episode of that, of that show, and in actual fact, good friends of mine, the Leicester Vintage and Old Toy Shop, were on one of the episodes, and it is hilarious. So you guys have to check that out. It's brilliant. In any case, it's a great show, and they're the guys, the toys that made us, and the movies that made us, and all that kind of stuff. They've been churning the content out somehow during this time. It's amazing. So
and then, Mark Wallomo, who's also kind of a friend of ours, a big friend of mine that I've gone to football games with and stuff and have known forever and ever, and he's featured in the show as well as one of the kind of online personalities or televised personalities. So it's like it's old home day watching that show and seeing a bunch of.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. When we were watching the I think it was the G.I. Joe episode of the Toys That Made Us. It was like, oh, hey, Kirk. Oh, hey, oh, hey. Like, it was just like, oh, hey, Daryl. Oh, hey. It was like all our friends were on television. It was weird. Crazy. So weird. Anyway, big shout out to everyone, all the listeners, all the patrons. We love you guys to death. Thanks for watching another episode of the Full Force Weekly. Justin, mate, thank you for jumping on. Really, really appreciate it, buddy. And I'm still buzzing. I can't even believe what is happening right now. So here we go, guys. Here we go. That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for watching the Full Force Weekly. Massive thank you to my awesome co-host, Justin Bell. See you next time. And as always, Justin, after 3, 1, 2, 3, Full Force! Competition time! On last week's New Year's Day special, we were giving away one of these beautiful Micro Machines chase sets and a Jada Toys G.I. Joe Nano Metal Figs pack, courtesy of GeneralsJoes Reborn. The lucky winner is The Best Mike's Life on YouTube. Congratulations, The Best Mike's Life, who said they wanted to see the tactical battle platform in the Micro Machines or Jada Toys scale, and I couldn't agree more. No prize this week, but keep an eye out for next week's show when we will have a brand new giveaway. Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/The Full Force, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback or questions. We have also started a Patreon page, so if you want to see your name up in lights on these videos or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.